Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined, as always, by Dakota Lasky. Dak, happy early American Thanksgiving, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be one I won't forget. I'm not entirely sure what I'm even doing at this moment, so yeah. I mean, it's a weird time for holidays, man. So, otherwise I'm doing good. Thank you for the happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. But yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in a new house, which is really cool. So that's good. I don't quite have my podcast studio set up yet, but it's coming along. And I've been playing a ton of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and I'm actually in love with it, which is strange because I don't really like the Hyrule Warriors style of gameplay, but it's just such a cool story that I'm having a blast. So I'm doing good. It's a good weekend. It was a long week of moving, but it's cool. This is the last house we'll ever be in now, so it's good. It's a good feeling.
That's quite a way to put it, right? Quite an ultimate way to put it. Is it so?
Yes.
You'd give Age of Calamity a recommendation, right? You'd say recommend, because I haven't gotten it yet, and I forgot that it actually came out.
Yeah. I mean, I would. If you don't like that style of game, I think that you'll still like it because it's more accessible than the first Hyrule Warriors, and you can make it easy enough that you can just kind of mash your way through the levels, and there's cutscenes before and after every single level, so you just learn a little bit more about the characters and stuff from Breath of the Wild, and it feels like a much better experience to me than the first Hyrule Warriors did. So yeah, I really like it a lot so far. Actually, I'm surprised how much I do.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. I still thought that I would enjoy the Breath of the Wild prequel aspect of it. I'm with you. I've never been a big Warriors fan, right? I've never really gotten to the Dynasty Warriors, and I didn't play the first Hyrule Warriors, so I haven't played I know there's a Fire Emblem one too, I think. I'd probably play the Metroid one, but I'm sure that'll never be made. But yeah, I still want to check it out though. It looks cool, and seems like the gameplay is at least good enough to not bring down the story or anything. But I haven't gotten any spoilers, but I've heard different things about the story and whether or not it's good, but I'm going to go into it with an open mind, and I'm still pretty excited about learning some pre-Breath of the Wild stuff anyway, so.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I would recommend it to anybody that's kind of on the fence. There's enough Breath of the Wild-ish stuff to make up for the Dynasty Warriors gameplay. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, and I'm looking forward to our episode today. We were going to do an episode all about Samus Returns on the Switch, but we actually just called an audible, and instead we took your guys' questions. So we're having a fun episode of Ask a Metroid Question, Get a Metroid Answer. Before we get there, Dak, we should thank everybody for all of their responses to our music episode last week. I think that episode was a hit. I had a lot of really good feedback on that. Some people were Team Dak, saying that the surface is not iconic. Some people were Team Andy. I don't know. So maybe a little bit of a split. But I had a lot of really good engagement for that, and a lot of really interesting questions and comments. And one thing that we forgot is the Super Metroid theme, which seems unbelievable.
Did we forget it? Because I could have sworn we did talk about that theme, but
so somebody, and I apologize, I can't remember who pointed it out, but they said they were talking about the Super Metroid theme, and I was like, oh my god, we forgot that. But then I was thinking to myself, well, the theme of Samus kind of is the Super Metroid theme in a way. So we called it something else, but in my mind, that was the Super Metroid theme. But I could see where they were just oh man, what are these guys talking about? So it was kind of an omission, but kind of not. Maybe it was just a different remix of the same theme. I don't know.
I think Duminal said that we didn't mention it, if I'm remembering correctly, who also had a bunch of other good responses, a longer thread. So yeah. Also a Spire fan who mentioned the Metroid Prime Hunters theme, which I love that theme, and I was going to say it, but I didn't say it because I didn't think it was like an iconic theme. It was like it's a really good theme, but it's the same thing as like saying to you like the SR388 main theme isn't an iconic one. Like the Metroid Prime Hunters theme actually is, I think, more iconic, but I still don't think it's as iconic to be in like the top 10. So I didn't mention it, but it's definitely more iconic. That theme is so good. That theme is burned. That theme is burned into my brain cells. So shout out to Spire
you and the other 10 people that played Metroid Prime Hunters.
At least 10 people played that. I think more people played Hunters and Samus Returns and the original Metroid 2. So.
You might be right, unfortunately. So we'll we'll dive into that when we talk about Samus Returns on the Switch.
But I will give you a pat on the back for because I believe you suggested this or that episode topic for last week, so that was good. I thought that was a great one to jump into. I was like, I wasn't sure how we'd go about it, but I think it ended up as a pretty solid episode, and it was nice to talk about some really awesome tracks because that's another reason why I love Metroid. Is that's so much good music,
Yeah, no doubt. And I would be totally down to do a similar episode, but like our favorite tracks as well, provided that there's not, a ton of overlap between the most iconic and favorite tracks. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And I thought
you just want to talk about the SR388 theme again.
You know what? I think if I were to make a top 10 list, maybe it would be on my top 10. It would be like in the lower echelon, but it might crack my top 10.
How can you say it's not in your top 10 or be sure if you think it's an icon? Like, you were willing to die on this hill. And now you're like, I'm not sure it's in my top 10. Come on. It's not. It's not.
This is going to be one of those things that lives on forever for the Omega Metroid podcast. I don't know. We'll see. I would have to think long and hard about what my top 10 pieces of Metroid music are. Like, there's so much.
Yeah. You're right. Long and hard.
Well, let's make this episode nice and easy instead of long and hard. We've got a ton of great questions that you guys submitted, so thank you very much to everyone that contributed. I love these episodes because it feels like a week off. You supply the questions and we just give you our opinions, and I'm always really, really fired up to do these episodes. So I guess without any further ado, let's just get it going.
All right,
and just a reminder to anybody that we do these episodes periodically, and we'll do them again. So there are a couple ways that you can ask your questions. Easiest way is, of course, to follow us on Twitter at Omega Metroid Pod, or you can hop into the Metroid Database Discord and chat with us there. All right, let's go. The first question comes from Treasured Hunter. Remember when Samus could throw her power bombs, while not in Morph Ball like grenades in Samus and Joey? Should Samus be able to do something like that in Metroid Prime 4? First of all, do you know what Samus and Joey is?
Well, I was gonna say, I like how it's like casually. Remember when this? Like, no, I don't remember that specifically from Samus and Joey. I know what it is. I know it's a short like manga where Samus, I don't know, hangs around with some kid. But yeah, so I know what it is. I don't remember this specific part about it though. No.
Yeah, I don't either. I knew it was from a manga, but that's about it. You know what? I don't know that I would necessarily like to see that in Prime 4. Where this idea could actually maybe flourish is if they ever did like a Zero Suit game, or like a section where you're in the Zero Suit and for whatever reason you had access to bombs, but you couldn't use them in Morph Ball form. I think that would probably be fine. But I like otherwise, if you're talking about this in Prime 4, like really you just have a grenade launcher,
Well, yeah, I'm like figuring out like why would it be necessary? Because yeah, you could just have a gun that shoots grenades, right? And that would essentially be the same thing. I like that you have to be committed to the Morph Ball to use that, right? Like when you start to be able to use like all different sorts of your like weapons, all like at any time you want, then I don't know, it feels a little like less dynamic, like gameplay wise, right? Like I like how you can only do your Morph Balls from Morph Ball mode, just like, or your Morph Ball bombs or power bombs only from, Morph Ball mode, and vice versa. You can only do certain things in this mode and that mode, right? Like you can't do everything all at once at any time. So you kind of have to be, strategic, even if it just is a button press in another mode or something like that. So yeah, I think I don't know. If I would say I'm gonna give this a no. Thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm probably with you. I would say no, which is fine though. If it showed up,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be offended. But I'm
I
gonna say
would be
no.
offended. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be offended. That'd be fine.
All right, Lore Rule Legend says or asks rather, if Metroid were to get another character in Smash, who would you want it to be? Dak, go ahead. I feel like I know your answer.
Really, you think you know my answer?
I think I might.
This is a hard one. I am going to say, who should be in Smash? I think that it would be cool if we got Kraid from Super Metroid. No, I don't know. They probably put Silex in. I guess the Silex would probably make the most sense. I would go with Silex. Nah, no, you go first. I'm not sure yet. You go first.
Kraid would be the absolute most amazing thing of all time. You know what? The next character from Smash Bros. Or from Metroid to get into Smash Bros. Should be the primary antagonist or important character in Metroid Prime 4. And use that as a way to like hype up Metroid Prime 4. Even if it's like
Right.
even if it's like in the game a year before Prime 4 ever comes out, that's who I think it should be. So if that character is Silex, then make it Silex. If it's not, yeah, but I think that it should be used in that fashion. Kind of similar to how Corrin was put in Smash before Fire Emblem Fates came out. So I think that would really help. If I was just picking like for myself and like picking a character that I would like to see in Smash, I think I'd probably say Rundus. I think he'd be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd probably be my answer. Would be Rundus. But my official answer to this question is whoever is like the next main character or antagonist in Prime 4.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you there. I would say whoever it is, like if there's a new antagonist, whoever that is, run with that. If not, I would say Weevil. Weevil would be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, because Rundus is also a cool pick. I would also like the SIX, but a character that could like maybe transform into like monster mode or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Even like maybe not as a playable character, but if they had like an Omega Metroid as a boss, that would be really cool. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good options.
Anthony. Would be
I
cool.
thought about Anthony, but I thought that you might have a hernia if I if
No,
I said
Anthony's
Anthony.
one of the good parts of Other M.
He might be the best part.
He
to
might
be honest.
be the best part, yeah. So I would be okay with him being in. I think if I had to pick someone, it'd be Weevil though. Weevil is always a really cool character to me, so I'd put him in.
Okay, let's keep it going. Lower Legend asks another question here. If we were to get Metroid Dread next year, would you rather it play more like Samus Returns or AM2R? So we've kind of talked about this a little bit before, where I think that I would probably lean more towards having it play like Samus Returns, even if I don't necessarily like. I love the way that AM2R plays, but that's like a love letter to Super Metroid, which came out in 1994, and I feel like Samus Returns was kind of a step towards like how new Metroid should play. So I feel like Metroid Dread should follow that template and like play like a more modern version of Metroid, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, ideally, I think it should have like a mixture of both, right? Like there are things that both games do really well. And
Totally.
Samus Returns definitely has a more modern feel to it. AM2R is like a really tight, like gameplay wise, and feels really crisp, but also has that like older kind of Metroid feel to it, and like at least looks wise, also is kind of like Zero Mission and Fusion put together. I think it should have a mixture of both, but I agree with you there. Closer to Samus Returns. That being said, my actual dream is for Metroid Dread to be a Prime style game anyway. So, but I don't think we're gonna get that.
Well. Never say never.
Never say
All right,
never.
let's keep it going. Gustavo asks, from a mere plot perspective, how would you change Other M? You know what, Gustavo, we're we've decided that for our 1 year podcast anniversary, we're going to do a series of shows on Other M, and one of them is going to be about the game.
Series now.
One of them's going to be, yeah, I think so. Well,
I
because
didn't know
I think
we
we
were doing
could
a
get
series now. Oh Jesus!
I think we could get one episode about a retrospective of the game and like what went wrong. I think we could do a story or an episode about the plot and how we could change it, how we could fix it, and maybe another episode in there. I'm not sure, depending on how long we go. But for my general answer for this question would be change Samus's character and change Samus's character, and I think that would be the biggest thing that I would do, because Samus wasn't Samus in this game to me.
All right, Andy, I'm gonna press you there, because while I agree with you, that's not really plot related. Give me something plot related. Give me something not character related, because I agree with you there. Samus's character is booty butt cheeks, but plot.
Well, I mean, like, they go hand in hand, right? Like
they do go hand in hand, but they're different.
Okay, so when she is literally too afraid to fight Ridley and she just like qualms up, I hated that.
There we go.
And I get what they were going for. I get the PTSD thing, and I think that there would be a way to tell that story, but I don't think that they did it very well. Now, to keep in mind too, I can't give you a fantastic answer because it's been like 10 years since I've played it now. Because I played it once and I hated it, and I haven't went back to it yet. So I'm gonna play it in the next couple weeks, and I'll have a better answer for you. But that would be off the top of my head, like change Samus.
Yeah, well, I would definitely agree with you. Get rid of that whole encounter with Ridley and how that goes. Aside from that, because I feel like that's I would say everyone would agree with that's a pretty contentious thing that could have maybe done differently. I also would say that aside from the fact that it all takes place on another ship and like steals so much from Fusion, like it wants to be Fusion so bad, the whole imposter like subplot was so bad. Like I would remove that. It was never like a really compelling mystery, and it's silly nonsense and doesn't really have any like you're not never anticipating who it really is. And it's like one of like the Federation guys, and it's not a surprise when you figure out who it is really, and it's not well done. I think it's like there's so much more you could be doing, and like Samus is on this like whodunit little mystery here going on, and then like also dealing with Pokemon Ridley. It's nonsense. I would definitely change that up, but I would also just scrap the whole thing, to be honest. That would be, from a plot perspective, I would rewrite the whole thing if you're really going to break it down that way.
Yeah, I think that you'd need to retool a lot of things. Maybe a second answer would be like make the conspiracy of the Federation more like obvious and more like palpable, because I don't know. But I mean, we'll get into that in a few weeks here, Gustavo, and give you a better answer. Let's keep it going. Metroid asks, what kind of new suit design and power-up would you guys love to see Samus use in future games? So, Dak, I don't know if you remember, but I kind of answered this back when we were talking about our pitches for Metroid 5. I think that a suit that could like be used to manipulate the environment and maybe vice versa would be really, really cool. Like you could spin the room around, or like you could open different kind of things or hatches in order to do like puzzles or get power-ups or something like that. A suit that basically allows Samus to interact with her surroundings, I think would be like really, really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd be down for that. But yeah, I agree. I think having more like environment manipulation is something that Metroid should go like in that direction anyway. So I'd be down for that. That sounds cool. At least on my end, I know for look-wise, I really like what they did in Samus Returns, how, like, they're the vents, right? And it looks like more of a realistic kind of suit, or it has more pieces, and there's a lot more layers going on. I think it should continue to go in that way. Like, I'd love to see more of, like, the technical aspects of the suit, and, like, vents and different kinds of, like, things, like, jutting out, like, intake valves, or stuff like that, where it looks more of, like, doesn't have to be entirely realistic, but like has more components going on, right? One of the things I hate about the other M suit is that there's so little going on with the suit. Like even like the Prime suits have like more like lights and and not spikes, but kind of, fins almost on the shoulder pads and all of that. I really like what they did with the Samus Return suit in that way. Like, it looks more of like the real deal, like a tough like piece of like technology there. I always like that. And for power ups, power ups.
While you're thinking, I've got
You
one
think.
for
Yeah.
like a suit design.
Okay.
This would probably more so apply to like 2D Metroid than it would for Prime, although it could apply to both. But like, I really love when you see like Metroid cinematics and like you see Samus and like it's dark, but like her suit is kind of glowing because it's got the lights.
Yeah.
I think that it would be such a simple thing to like have that little glow around Samus as she moves, like in a dark area or something like that. It's such a small thing, but I think it would add a lot to me.
That'd be cool. Yeah. And she's kind of like giving off her own light, right? Like emitting enough light to be able to see. Like, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean she doesn't have to be like a flashlight, but like just like a little bit of light so that you know like this is a functional suit with like power ups and doohickeys and all this stuff.
No, yeah, 100%. I think that'd be really cool. And I would like it would be cool if other suits had like different light designs too. Like, I like how in Metroid Prime 2, like the suits are really different. Like I like how they play with like the actual form. I'd love to see other suit designs that like play with that like no shoulder pad look that like the light suit and the fusion suit have. It's like that's really cool, like that organic kind of look too, and like also just like slimmer, like that. I think they can still play with some elements from suits that have been tried before, but not too often. And I also really hope that we get some cool new like arm cannon kind of looks too, like in the Prime games, how the cannon kind of gets wider or bigger or longer and stuff like that. Like maybe different like pieces could be added to it, right? Like you could kind of change the look of the cannon. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Any power ups, or do you wanna move on?
Oh yeah, power ups. So I'm trying to think of any like really solid ones. They gotta get more creative than I can get apparently.
I'll tell you what. Let's move on, and
Yeah.
if you think of it, just
I'll
interrupt
ran
me.
back to this one. Okay.
All right. So Doominal he asked us a bunch of questions. Shout out to Doominal, and actually shout out to him for always giving us his thoughts about every episode that we do. Really appreciate that. So Doominal asked, the Metroid Prime trilogy has two exploration styles. More freedom exploration, where that path loops in and out of multiple areas, and a more Zelda dungeon style, where you're predominantly in one area before moving on to the next, as seen in Metroid Prime 2 or 3. Which do you prefer?
I think you really want to answer this one. So
I prefer the first one, actually, where you're kind of in and out of every area a lot more. It's funny because I was actually just playing Pikmin maybe a month ago, and I was playing Pikmin 1 and then I played Pikmin 2 right after. And Pikmin 2 has the same kind of thing where like you go down into this hole in the earth and it's basically like a Zelda dungeon and you keep on going down and down and down until you're finally finished. And I just like exploring in the first Pikmin a little bit more, and like you're just kind of able to go where you want, do what you want. And I feel like I like that about Metroid as well. I love being able to like slowly peel the layers back on every area, come back to it, and then you can go a little bit further and further. So I like being able to like constantly come back to my surroundings rather than just like okay, I'm in Magmore Caverns, I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna move on, and I don't really have much reason to come back. Actually, AM2R is basically that, where like it's Zelda-esque in that way, where you go into an area and then you basically get everything that you need to, and then you move on. So yeah, I think I like the Metroid Prime Super Metroid style a little bit better. What about you, Dak?
This is I think because like I really like Metroid Prime, which is obviously the first style. I think Metroid Fusion, another like my favorite 2D Metroid, is also kind of the more dungeony style. Like you only go to like each area like when you need to, and maybe you go back maybe once. But I like that. I like the mixture. Like you don't like being able to go back and forth, but not necessarily like you go here A to B to C to D, right? I don't know. I think both have like their merits. It's not like Prime and 2 and 3 aren't as good as Prime 1, really, in a lot of ways. I don't know. I think I would have to go with the freeform, right? Because I like being able to, like, have a path that's looping in and out of all the different areas over and over, and you're unlocking new places to access and explore as you like revisit those areas. So yeah, I think I would probably have to go with the Prime 1 style if we're going to categorize it that way. So yeah, that's my answer. More freeform.
Okay. Quaid asks, what
Quaid.
is both of your personal favorite power-ups in any of the Metroid games? Limited to 3 each if undecided. I think I'm decided.
Are we counting weapon upgrades or like non-weapon power-ups?
Yeah, I think you can count weapon upgrades.
Okay.
But yeah, why wouldn't you be able to?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I think some people like consider those different than, like a regular power up, so to speak, rather than just like the weapon beams. I don't know. What are yours?
I think that the Phazon suit in Metroid Prime 1 is awesome. I love how it looks, and I love that like that's the key to finally like being able to explore the game. I love shine sparking, so by default speed booster. Particularly Super Metroid's speed booster is a favorite of mine. And what's another one? I don't know that it was used necessarily to the best effect or like the greatest effect, but I really love the command visor from Metroid Prime 3. I loved the idea of being able to like control your ship. I think they could have done a lot more with that, and they might still do a lot more with that. But I thought that the idea was like really, really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I hope we get like more visor types, right? And be able to manipulate stuff with different like perspectives in future games. So I thought that was a cool visor too. I'm definitely with you there. For me, so I'm thinking just like non-weapon first. I've always been a big grapple beam fan. Like swinging from stuff, and I liked in Prime 3 as much as I'm not the biggest motion controller guy. I always thought like pulling shields and stuff was cool. I wish we get like more like grapple beam kind of stuff. Like I want to be able to like pull off way more things in future Metroid Prime games, or like be able to do stuff with enemies. And I think how they've implemented the gravity beam in most games, I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorites. What else? Shine Spark as well, and Power Bomb is also really sick. I think their power bomb is always something I look forward to in a game because it just like opens up a ton of stuff. And actually, can I put Screw Attack too? I feel like I'm gonna replace my first one maybe with Screw Attack. I don't know. Grapple Beam is really good. I think I said Gravity Beam at one point earlier, but Grapple Beam. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do Grapple, Shine Spark, or Speed Boost, right? And then whatever I just said as my third.
Screw Attack.
Screw Attack. It is, yes. And then non-weapon. I would say or weapon. I'd have to go with Annihilator, Plasma Beam, and then the Wave Beam. Boom.
Okay. There you go. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
Crimson Paladin asks, assuming the game has it, what sort of amiibo support would you like to see in Prime 4? Would you want to keep it simple and just have them use unlock special skins and minor bonuses, or would you want to see something closer to what was done in Samus Returns? I know that a bunch of people didn't like the amiibo support in Samus Returns because it was like fairly essential almost to the game. Like when you scanned the Metroid, it would show you where all the Metroids were on the map. And I know that some people were PO'd that wasn't just like in the base game. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty safe. I think it's a safe idea to do like suit skins and stuff like that, or maybe like if Prime 4 uses ammo, which I hope it doesn't, it could give you some ammo or something like that, or like refill your missiles or whatever. I think that's safe, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends on like what like the amiibo character would be, and like I think that we would have to have a little bit more information about the story to like really kind of say like what specific amiibo should do.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never ever used an amiibo with any of my games. Like I've never attempted to unlock anything. I think other than like the Metroid stuff for Samus Returns. and I've never like I didn't use it for Smash. I pretty much just like have them on display. I haven't honestly got an amiibo in a very long time. The last amiibo I got was the Ridley amiibo for Smash. So the less amiibo stuff there is, the better. I think I'd rather not be tied to an amiibo at all because amiibos can be expensive. Then you got to open them, and
Oh, they are. I bought two amiibo when I bought Age of Calamity, and it was
actually
like
maybe you don't.
$50.
Yeah, they are. I mean, even like the Samus Returns ones were expensive, and then they got more expensive because they stopped making them. So like, I'd rather the least amount of stuff possible. Keep it simple, small bonuses. I don't want like special skins, like like anything that's good. I don't want locked behind it because then I gotta buy these amiibos and use them. And like I don't want like a certain mode. I guess if you're gonna have it be done with amiibos, then yeah, maybe keep it to skins and not like a difficulty mode or like stuff like that, because I don't really want to be locked out of gameplay. Like skins, I can okay if I really want the skin, I guess I'll buy the amiibo, but I shouldn't have to like play the game a certain way and not be able to play it another way because I don't have an amiibo or something like that. So I think just keeping it small bonuses, like nothing gameplay related, maybe a skin or I don't know, a gun buddy or whatever. As limited as I can, and definitely not gameplay related.
Yeah, I agree with that. Duminal asks, which Smash entry do you think has the best and worst overall Metroid representation? I think the best is definitely Ultimate and Brawl, and the worst, I don't know, probably the first one. I think.
Yeah, the best one has to be Ultimate. I mean, it has the most Metroid characters, most Metroid stages, songs, trophies. Has Ridley, has Dark Samus, and then like the first Smash game is just has Samus and like a single stage with Ridley in the background. So I think this one's kind of easy. Yeah, definitely Ultimate for characters, definitely Ultimate for stages, for music, for pretty much everything. I think Ultimate really hits the nail on the head in terms of like representation, like the best for most franchises, right? Like I can't really think of any franchise that isn't doing really well in Ultimate in terms of representation compared to the previous games. Like I can't think of a franchise that's gotten worse. So and then like 64, right, is the most basic one. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, he has a follow-up question. Dumal asks, how much do we donate for Andy to attempt to beat Metroid Prime Pinball on stream? Oh, buddy, if I don't know. I could probably find a charity and make that happen. I hope you like 10-hour streams though, because
10 hours
horrible. Yeah, dude, I'm horrible at pinball. I'm so bad.
Okay, how about this? Metroid Prime Pinball sold 0.26 million in sales apparently, according to VG sales. So 26 bucks? Is that in American? I think that's fair.
Oh boy, yeah. Hey, if you like long streams, then that might be your thing. Spoons McGee asks, "What's a feature from a previous Metroid game you want to see come back?" And I'm assuming that this is beyond your basic missiles and stuff like that. Probably the cliche answer here, but shine sparking for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's been in every Metroid game, 2D ones. I don't think that'll. I'm trying to think of are there any features that have been in Metroid and then didn't return for a more recent Metroid game, at least in 2D or 3D? I'm trying to think.
Honestly, not. The Spider Ball took a hiatus in Super Metroid, but that was brought back in Metroid Prime. The ditto with the Boost Ball.
I think that the fusion missiles, that'd be cool for those to come back. I always thought the fusion missiles were really sick. Those haven't come back since Fusion, I don't think, in terms of game release.
Yeah, that could be cool. I think that could be neat.
I always thought that were dope.
So basically there's just there's different ways of shooting your missiles that could come back, but I think that diffusion was cool. I think that what were they called in Prime 3 where you could shoot 5 of them at the same time?
Oh, the multi-missile, that would be cool.
whatever they were called. Like they were cool, but I wouldn't necessarily say like, oh, I really want them to come back.
I'd
They
be
were
down for
cool in
that.
their game. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think my answer is just the Shine Spark.
I'm trying to think of any other feature that like was in a previous Metroid game but then didn't come back that we haven't already mentioned. And I'm sure there are a few of those. I definitely think that we could have like, more of the ship manipulation from Metroid Prime 3. That'd be cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like linking games, I don't know, somehow. That's always cool when you can link like an older game if they could do that. But like everything's going to be coming out for the Switch, right? So there's really not like a portable and console equivalent anymore. Like it's all one thing. So I don't know if that'll
Yeah.
really happen anymore, which is a shame. Yeah, I think the fusion missile is still my answer.
Okay. Duminal's back. He's got another. This is a great question, actually. So he asks, you both talked before about how you discovered Metroid, but what was that wow moment when you realized how much you loved the series? Dak, what was your wow moment?
What was my whoa moment? It says whoa moment. So I'm trying to think
Okay,
of
well, whatever. Simple.
what was my whoa moment that how much I loved the series. That's a good question. Because, yeah, I mean, I got into it getting, obviously through Smash, and then I got Prime and Fusion the same day on Christmas. I think the whoa moment for me probably is when they first announced Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, because I was so excited for that game. Because I know how good Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime, or Metroid Fusion were. And I remember being, like, extremely excited for that game. And I remember that my parents, or I asked for the game that Christmas, right, whenever Metroid Prime 2 came out, like the following Christmas or whatever, and I asked for the game, and I wanted it so badly, and they were like, oh, I don't know if we'll get it for you, and I remember being really, really tight about that, because they were, like, playing with me and, like, teasing me on whether or not I was going to get this game for Christmas. They ended up getting it for me anyway. And like it was under the tree, but they were making me believe that I wouldn't get it, and obviously I was like 9 years old, so I was like getting super tight about it. But I remember being so excited for Echoes because of how good the original game was. I wanted that game so bad. I remember watching the trailers and whatnot. I think when I like really like was tight that I wasn't gonna get it, that was like, yeah, I really want this game. I really like this game. Metroid's really good. So maybe that's it, like the lead into Metroid Prime 2, or maybe when I got Hunters, I was like, yeah, I want some more Metroid. This is just like even more up my alley, so this is perfect. So yeah, maybe around that time.
Okay. I think it would have to be, for me, when I the first time I played Super Metroid, and I don't remember like what, probably when I hit like Brinstar in Super Metroid, I was just like, this is so awesome. It was so atmospheric. I was pretty young. I was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 11 or something, or maybe even younger or whatever. But yeah, playing Super Metroid for the first time, I played a lot of Super Nintendo games as a kid, but like I would say that really like I kind of became like a quote unquote gamer when like during the N64 era. So I like hadn't played a lot of those like really masterful Super Nintendo games I'd played Mario World and Link to the Past, but like they didn't click for me the same way that Super Metroid did. So yeah, I think that my first playthrough of Super Metroid, when my dad bought it from like some mom and dad shop that was still selling Super Nintendo games, we bought it for like $5, and I put it in my SNES, which I still had. And yeah, that was it for me after that. And then I remember them announcing Metroid Prime, and I was so stoked. I remember skipping school to go and get it, and I came home and bought it and played it. And yep, that was it. That was it was love at first sight.
Yeah, I
So,
think
yeah,
I'm
great
amending
question.
mine. I'm amending mine. I actually I know what the moment is, and it's way earlier than what I said. I think that was another whoa moment for me. My original whoa moment is when I first fought Metroid Prime. Like, when you walk in and Metroid Prime's like hanging from the ceiling, right? That cutscene. I think
Yeah.
that's the cuts. That when I first played it, that cutscene, I was like, oh, like this is sick. Like this is like, not that I hadn't said that it was sick previous, but I definitely like distinctly remember like playing it for the first time. Like, wow, like in my bedroom and like playing this with the lights off. I was like, this is so awesome. and like was really hyped for that fight. I'm gonna amend my answer. That's when I was really, I think, fell in love with Metroid. Is that moment? It's very big.
All right.
Yeah. I'm an indecisive person. I'm sorry. I have a lot of good moments in Metroid. It's hard to pick one.
It is hard to pick one. Yeah, like there's just so many moments. Like the Ridley fight in Super is up there for me. Yeah, that's a great question, Duminal. Great question. Let us know in the replies to this. What was yours, by the way?
Also, before we move on, I have my power up from Metroid's question. We're going back to Metroid's question. What kind of power ups we want to see? I really want to see Samus with an air dash. Let her use like her jetpack. Right? Like how she has her like boosters in the back. That I guess she uses for like the high jump and other kind of stuff. Give her like a jetpack function. Let her do like a float or like an air dash or something like that. What do you think about that? Like a short float or kind of air movement kind of thing. Could be 2D, 3D. I don't know. Not like a second jump like in Prime, like the double jump. I'm talking like an air dash or like a float.
Hover. Yeah.
Either like a hover or an air. Like either one, I think would be really cool.
It would be okay for like the Prime style games. I don't think it would be good in a 2D game. Well, it might be good, but then you'd get like the space jump and it's obsolete basically.
Well, the space jump
it might be okay.
Well, I think for 3D it would be awesome, but I thought it would even work better in 2D because in 2D like the space jump just gives you like a bigger jump and like you have but you still have the same arc of your original jump. Like I'm thinking like something that it'll allow you to change your momentum or like change your movement mid-air aside from like the regular arc of your jump or like going into a screw attack. I don't know. I thought might be cool.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I think it would work better in 3D than 2D, but I'm also down to see. I'm down to see anything kind of before. I'd like to see it before I say this sucks. But yeah, it could work in 3D. I think fairly well. Okay. So Marshall is here, and he's going to ask us a couple questions here. In his first one, I'm going to kind of break it down to the point of his question here. He basically suggested that he would like to see Metroid evolve in a similar fashion to Mass Effect with like full voice acting, full like different races, different planets that you can go to, different like characters you can interact with. And he was asking if we would like to see Metroid kind of go down that path as well.
I like having like all different kinds of like races and like adding to the lore in that kind of way and making like the whole galaxy or whatever feel kind of deep. But I like how Metroid keeps it to like a planet by planet basis and doesn't feel like you got to know like every species of alien in the universe and all of that, and it feels very dense. I kind of like how Metroid doesn't go too far with the amount of lore and like stuff you got to know or find out. Like it's still a game you really kind of go to for gameplay first. I like having a solid story. I don't know if it needs to go the Mass Effect route. I think Mass Effect is cool, but that's a different kind of game. I wouldn't hate it though, but I do think like there's something to be said about having like a more focused like amount of alien races and all of that. And I mean, we haven't even explored like the ones from Hunters and some others, right? Like even those, like if you explored all of them in depth, like maybe that could be too much too. So we don't even know a lot about the Chozo, right? Like I would like to learn more about like the Chozo and the space pirates first before we start adding all this other crazy stuff too. So I'm gonna say no, but I wouldn't be like entirely against it. I like to see how it would be executed, So yeah, maybe a no for me. I don't know.
You know what? I'll preface this with like I am like a massive Mass Effect fan. I love Mass Effect. But I think I would lean more towards a general no with some caveats with like. Yes, I think that Metroid should have like everybody should have a voice. Like they should have a voice actor, voice actress.
I agreed that.
So that one's a no-brainer. I wouldn't hate necessarily to go like to different planets and explore like more of the solar system like you do in Mass Effect. But that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, what kind of Metroid do you prefer? Like an interconnected thing, or like a Zelda dungeon style, where like you go, you do the planet or whatever, and you don't really have to come back later for any reason. So I feel like a Mass Effect game would have to really exist in like the latter category there, where like you go to a planet, you figure out what's on that planet, and you don't have to come back. I mean, that being said, I think that could still be cool. But yeah, I wouldn't take too many other cues from Mass Effect. I've said before, like, one of the things for me is like I feel like Metroid is at its best when it's atmospheric and you're kind of isolated and alone, and there's not too many other people that are around you. But I kind of to echo what you said though. Like, I mean, I would. It's a no-ish answer, but I would be down to see anything once before I say I never want to see it again. So, I think that Mass Effect is like one of the best modern series in video games. But the reason that it's so good is because it does a lot of things so uniquely that, it's better when it's kind of self-contained. I feel like.
No, I agree, and Mass Effect is good because it has such a crazy, like, dense and like vivid world. It's so much about like meeting all these different kinds of characters and having your squad and all that. Where Metroid is, I definitely agree, at its best. Like, it's really just you and whatever you're hunting, or the environment and all that. And I like to, for the most part, kind of keep it that way, with some exceptions.
Like, I think the other thing too that makes Mass Effect so successful is like you have just a charismatic lead in Commander Shepard. If no matter if you're the male or female version, and like you can customize your Commander Shepard, and like he does basically what you tell him to, but he'll do it in his own way. Like you pick the dialogue, but he doesn't repeat verbatim what you've picked, and like so it allows Shepard to be a character, but also like a player avatar. And I think that would be a little bit tricky to pull off with Samus, especially because the last time that we heard Samus talk a lot was in Other M, which, didn't work out so well. But yeah, I mean, it could be done, I think, but I don't know if I would want that to be done.
Yeah. I like Samus kind of being her own character, kind of, but I don't know, just have some quips here and there, or a couple things to say,
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, we got a few more here, and then we'll get out of here. Populist Spur asks, do you guys think it's possible or even likely we get a classic Metroid collection for the Switch? Like Mario easy for me to say. Like Mario All-Stars or something, where it could be Metroid NES, Metroid 2, Zero Mission, Samus Returns, Super, and Fusion. Holy cow.
Already love whoever this is, because they didn't mention the game that must not be named. I love that. This is all yes. Boom. Next. No.
You know what? Populist Spur, sorry. I would love to see this as much as the next guy, but I think that you probably have to rein in your expectations a bit and make that more realistic, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games that are included in this collection. And granted, like some of them are older games and whatever, but I think that this is near impossible to get a collection with all 6 of these games. Metroid and Super Metroid are already on the Switch if you're an online subscriber, so that would probably not happen. I don't think that there's reason to include Metroid 2 if you're going to include Samus Returns. And I think that there is a decent chance that Fusion gets the remake treatment in the next couple years. So I don't see this happening. Also, Nintendo never acknowledges Metroid at all for anything. So yeah, I think that this is a long shot, a real long shot.
Let's just put it this way, right? Mario just got All-Stars, right? Like, Mario's like the biggest franchise they have other than like Pokemon. Pokemon doesn't even have this kind of collection. Though apparently one is coming, but it's not out yet, right? Like, those are the biggest franchises, and those games just got or don't even have their collections, right? Like, there's no way Metroid gets one in the next millennium. Like, Zelda, there isn't even like a Zelda collection, or anything. Like, there's no way they did this. Would it be sick? I'd be totally down for it. I do think they don't need to have all 6 games though. Like, just give us Zero Mission, Samus Return, Super Fusion. I don't think you need to include like I think the original NES and Metroid 2 in that collection would be kind of redundant. Like maybe have them as
Yeah.
like maybe like a secret unlockable, but I don't think you really need to have them. And obviously you don't have Other M because that would taint the product. I think it would be great, but I don't think it'll happen now.
Yep. Yep. I agree. Accursed Hunter asks, how would the Spazer Beam perform in Prime?
Yeah, that
I
was
think
a
that this could
discussion.
be. Yeah, and I just added this because I missed this question actually, but so I didn't have a chance to read what anybody said, but because I think it would be fairly easy to put the Spazer Beam in Prime. Like it's just a wide beam that shoots off 3, bolts of energy or whatever. Like it would be to me. I think that would actually be like fairly simple to put in. Like it would probably be almost the same as the wave beam,
Yeah.
where that one is kind of like it fires its waves or whatever. It looks really cool. I think the Spazer Beam, you could almost just swap them out and like it's just a wider shot. So I would love to see that though.
Oh, I agree. I was gonna say the wave beam is pretty much that already, so I would think that's probably how it would be used. I think also there was some discussion of it kind of being like a shotgun, which the shotgun is kind of just like a cone spread, right? And it's kind of randomish. Like this is like a set like 3 shots that are always gonna go the same like distance apart from one another and have the same like formation every time. So yeah, I think it would just kind of be the wave beam. A shotgun would be cool though. I think that'd be really sick. But the spazzer is kind of the wave beam already. So yeah, that's how I would assume
Yeah.
it'd be done.
I feel like when they did Metroid Prime, they were like, all right, well, let's put this beam in. Should we call it the wave beam or the Spazer Beam? Because they're basically the same thing, which is fine.
And wave
which
is better.
also
Wave
totally
is
fine.
better. But
Well, because like I mean, basically, like in the game, like wave isn't really a beam at all. It's just a function to add to your beam. So, I think that they're pretty much just the same thing, just a different name.
I am down for the shotgun though. If anyone wants that, I think a shotgun would be really cool or some kind of equivalent. Yeah, why not?
I don't know about a shotgun.
You don't want a shotty?
We'll see. We'll see. Not the Spazer shotgun. That would suck.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
That would be good. All right, Marshall's back. He asks, "Why do you want Metroid Prime games on the Switch?" And
they're good.
yep. Well, and you know what? I think I'm going to add some context to his question here, where he kind of asked like they already exist on their platforms and they're really great on their native platforms, and they didn't sell very well on their platforms, and if they were ported to the Switch, what kind of difference would that make? I think that I think that everybody wants Metroid Prime on the Switch so that more people can experience Metroid, right? Like the Switch has the magic touch. Like you look at the series, and almost to a series, every single series Nintendo has had their highest selling game now on the Switch. Zelda for sure, Pikmin, Fire Emblem, and I think you could easily add Metroid to that if Prime Trilogy or when Metroid Prime 4 gets added to the Switch. So just for exposure, and I mean, yeah, because they're great games, and let's say that Prime Trilogy releases on the Switch, I think that it's going to make a whole new audience of people fall in love with Metroid games. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. Also because I want them.
That's one thing. Yeah, like I want them. I want to play them. I think they're really good games, and like you said, like some people didn't get to play them, but more people should. You put it on the Switch, and it'll sell really well. And even the Prime games, they did sell pretty well. I think at least like the first Prime for the GameCube was one of its top sellers, right? So I mean, it's not like like 2 of them were on the GameCube, and then one came out pretty late. Not late on the Wii, but I guess Metroid Prime 3 and the grand scheme of things didn't do like super well on the Wii considering its install base. But I think Prime and 2 did considering the GameCube's install base. But yeah, I mean, you want more people to play really good games, like not everybody has a GameCube or a Wii. Definitely more people have a Wii, but not everybody has a GameCube or even has those games on their the discs or anything like that. A lot of people have a Switch. and they're really good games. Like, absolutely, I want more people to play them. I want to be able to play them on the go. Why not bring them back? It's any like you said, the Switch has a magic touch. You put Trilogy on the Switch, guarantee you it's gonna sell really well, and a lot of people that played those games would want to replay them again, and a lot of people who never got the chance to play them will now be able to. So it seems like a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. All right, we got 4 questions, and we'll get out of here. Doominal asks, Metroid Prime 4 will likely use the same various suit design that was introduced in Prime 2, but if you could choose one definitive design from any of the games, both 2D and 3D to use, what would you pick? Or would you pick an entirely new design together? So he kind of takes the words out of my mouth there. I would pick a new design to use, and I think that Prime 4 should have a new design because it's like such a monumentous game. So I think that a new design would be appropriate for that.
See, for me, if I could choose one definitive design from any of the games, what would I pick? Or would I like an entirely new suit design altogether? I wouldn't be against a different. I want it to be similar. I don't want it to be a completely different suit, but I'm always down for new interpretations. I mean, the Samus Returns Varia I think is really good. I would love that if they could use that Varia from Samus Returns in 3D. I'd be down for that. I think that might be my favorite overall. The original Metroid Prime suit is good, but they took it and used it in Prime 2 and 3 and altered it a bit. So I doubt they'd go back to that. So I have to go with the Samus Returns suit. I think that's the best looking one. It's really badass. It looks awesome, and I think in Prime it would be really good, but also in future 2D games. I'm also a big Fusion suit fan, and I think if they're going chronologically, at the end of Fusion, she still has that the unnamed orange version, right? The Omega suit or whatever. So, and I think they'll probably still use that. But I think those two would, the current Omega Fusion suit or whatever, and the Varia from Samus Returns are 100% my picks.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep it going. Conceptionist, I totally said that wrong. I'm sorry. He asks, who is your favorite hunter from Metroid Prime Hunters and why? I don't have a favorite hunter really because I am not, particularly in love with hunters. So I'll just defer this to you, Dak.
My favorite's Weevil, I think. Weevil I thought was always awesome. I love the design. Had the split, running around on the forearms with the scythe and the turret, and then the background, being a space pirate that fought Samus or, on Brinstar or not, whatever, depending on what you want to read or believe, and got rebuilt in that suit. I always thought that was really cool. I think my second favorite, and I really like all of them. I really liked Cannon. I always thought Cannon was really badass too, and just has a really cool design. I love the larva looking morph ball he has is always so sick. But also Trace is really cool too. Trace is a really sick design, and I like the Kraken Empire and all that. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Weevil. Really cool. Has that personal connection, or some connection to Samus. Has a cool design. Has a ponytail for some reason, which I always thought was cool in a way, or funny. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Weevil.
Okay. We got one from David Wayne Nystrom here. He's given us a doozy here. He says a space wizard appears and tells you he can make one of these happen in the Metroid franchise. Which do you choose? Number 1, Metroid Pinball 2. Number 2, a new Smash character. Number 3, a crossover game with F-Zero, Star Fox, and Pikmin. Number 4, an animated series following the manga.
That's a good question.
I don't know what my answer is. What? I'm gonna let you go first because I'm not sure.
Ooh, this is one that I definitely remember seeing on Twitter and be like, oh, this is the curveball. I don't think we've gotten a question like this before. I'm gonna go with a crossover game for F-Zero, Star Fox, and Pikmin because that just sounds so. Yeah. It just sounds it sounds so ridiculous. I'd have to see what that is. And I know I've had mixed thoughts on a crossover in the past. We've discussed this on the show previously. And as much as I don't want a canon Metroid game with any crossover, if they're going to create some crazy Nintendo sci-fi Avengers game with Metroid and F-Zero and Star Fox and Pikmin and do some kind of crossover, that sounds great. Who am I to deny the world that, right? I think that's awesome. Metroid Prime Pinball 2 would be cool, but I don't need it. I think the original pinball suffices, and to be honest, I could just play another pinball game. I mean, it's all kind of the same thing. New Smash character, I already have Ridley, so I don't need that. An animated series following the manga. While I do want an animated series, I don't want it to follow the manga. I know the story already. Like, give me an original story. I hate origin stuff. I hate retellings of stuff I've already read and know. Like, it'd be cool for some new people, but if we got an animated series with an original Metroid story, that I'm all about, and that would have been my pick. But if it's just following the manga, not as interested. I'll just read the manga. That being said, it would be really cool, and I'd be down for that. But at the end of the day, I'd rather a game, and that sounds like just such a crazy, stupidly dumb and fun game that, like, yeah, why not? Sure, I'm gonna pick crossover with F-Zero, Star Fox, and Pikmin.
I think that you like literally just answered for me. Like you took the words out of my mouth actually, because I would have picked an animated series, but I don't want it to follow the manga because from what I've read, and I haven't read all of it or even a lot of it, but like I don't really like it. It's just not my cup of tea.
It's not perfect. I mean, it has some cool like lore bits, right, that are important for Metroid, but it's not perfect for sure. Yeah.
I would have went with something original, but since that's not an option, number 4 is out. Number 1, Metroid Prime Pinball 2. I don't think we need that again. We had it once, and Metroid Prime Pinball is now the thing that would exist in like Nintendo Land 2 or something like that if they were to ever make that game. So I don't need that. So it's really between the new game and a new Smash character, and I feel like there's no one really in Smash that, like, we were talking about it earlier, like. The best that I could come up with is Rundus. And, like, do I really need Rundus in Smash? No. I think I'd rather play the crossover game because it just sounds goofy. And, like, I would love to see Samus controlling Pikmin or something like that. I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I think we agree.
It has, like, a subspace vibe to it. I'm like, hell yeah. You know what? Like, I'm good on that. Like, crossovers are some of my favorite things in fiction and just like in media, so yeah, why not? Like, as long as it's not like a main Metroid game and it's something else,
yeah,
I'm down for that.
Yeah, and I don't think it would. I think it would exist if it were to ever happen in like the same kind of tongue-in-cheek way that like Mario Rabbids existed, which is actually like a hell of a game. That's a wicked game to anybody that has not played that.
Like, I want like a really serious like epic space adventure, and like, the Pikmin are there and it's all being taken seriously. Like, I want it to be like super serious, like a super epic adventure where they all could die or something. Like, and it's like dark, but the Pikmin are there and like Fox and Slippy, and it's like that's what I'm looking for. By like that game directed by like Christopher Nolan or something.
Oh God! All right, last question here before we get out of here. This is from Fastball. Fastball asks, would you rather get Metroid 5 or a Super/Fusion remake next year?
Oh,
well, that's easy.
Metroid 5. Metroid 5.
Metroid 5.
Yeah, Super and Fusion remake are cool. Those could happen at any time, though.
Yeah.
I want the plot to progress. It's been almost 20 years. Give me some new plot. Give me a sequel to the chronologically most recent game. Yeah, give me Metroid 5. Absolutely been waiting for it since I was a kid. Super and Fusion, while remakes would be great, those games are still awesome on their own accord. And the remakes, I think, would also be great after having a Metroid 5, after Metroid Prime 4 come out. And you're like, oh, people are hyped for Metroid again? Hell yeah, hit them with the Super and Fusion remake. So, yeah, Metroid 5.
Yeah, the only thing I could possibly add to that is, like, I think that a remake would be fine for Fusion, particularly Fusion. And if they were to say, like, we're remaking Fusion, but we're also giving you Metroid 5 and Fusion is coming out first, that's the only way I would be like, okay, like, I'm down with this remake being made before we get the next Metroid game. So, yeah. That's but yeah, that's an easy Metroid 5.
Boom. Easy. Done.
All right, well, actually, speaking of done, we are done. That is all the questions that we had time for. I think there was a few that we missed, but thank you everyone for letting us know and asking us over on Twitter and giving us some fun stuff to talk about here. I love doing these episodes, and I love when everybody kind of chips in and asks these questions. So I had a blast doing this, and I can't wait till we do it again. if you are following us on Twitter at Omega Metroid Pod, you can ask us a question, and we will do our best to to get your question in next time we do a show like this. Dak, anything you wanna say before we get out of here?
I just want to say we got a lot of good questions, and if we missed any, I mean, even hit us up on Twitter. I'll just respond to it there. I like that I get put on the spot for some favorites or like designs I want to see next, because I'm very indecisive and I feel like there are so many good ideas. I don't know which ones to pick. But shout out to everyone who threw us some answers or some questions so we could give you some answers, and I hope we had some good ones for y'all. I'm looking forward to the next one. But yeah, this was good, and I'm glad that we did another Q&A, because yeah, these are some of my favorite episodes, and we always get a lot of good questions, so it was a lot of fun. It was a fun time. Yeah.
I love the rapid fire kind of questions too. I always appreciate that. All right, well, that is going to do it for us, guys. Thank you again for submitting all of your questions. We want you to check us out over on Twitter at Omega Metroid Pod, and then check out Dak and I as well at Spateri316 and at DakCity_. Happy Thanksgiving to all my American pals out there. Hope that you guys have a safe holiday, and you're all being healthy and whatnot. And you know what? Check us out over on Podbean, on iTunes, Spotify. You know the drill. Wherever you get your podcast, like, subscribe, recommend, and we will see you guys back here next week for some more Metroid goodness.
Oh, Andy, before we go, I'm gonna cut you off. I was thinking, and people on Twitter, let us know. We got maybe like a Christmas episode? Like, you know how there's a Star Wars Christmas episode, and that's really good. Like the holiday special, like the Christmas holiday special, like that really good one. Maybe we do one of those? I don't know.
Everybody let us know what your Metroid Christmas special would look like.
Yeah, yes, please do.
That's
Okay, continue.
I can't even think right now. No, that's it. We're done. This is like extra bonus. Like if people are still listening, it's like they're listening behind the scenes, and they're in for they got like a backstage treat going on right now.
Well, I'm interested to hear what people will say about that. But otherwise, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Tweet at us some Metroid Christmas stuff. Let's get out of here. Peace.